My mother was born in Budapest in 1923. Her name was Edith Lowinger. In Hebrew, she was named Minka, and she survived the Holocaust with my father in the Budapest ghetto, running a soup kitchen that my grandfather had established. She did some very gutsy things at a very young age. Opened up my grandfather's business at age 10 so he could learn in the morning.
She saw her father having a big burden of running a huge operation and stepped up to the plate. You know, she's a kid, and she decided that she's gonna try to make his life better, and that's what she was about.
We learned from observing her, not from what she said, because she never spoke about what she did. She always had these customers who came to the house. Probably when I was a teenager, when I began to realize that they weren't customers. They were what you'd like to call a mishalach, or someone coming collecting. A few years ago, I was at the Achiezer office and I got a call from my grandmother, and she said, I have a customer here. And she's such a bright young woman and she has so much potential, but I need Achiezer to help her find a job. This was something so important to my grandmother. It wasn't just about giving handouts, it was propping people up so that they can be an upstanding citizen.
Many people do chesed, but it's hard to find somebody who does it with such a pure heart and such a pure spirit, where it's purely because she saw something that needed to be done.
So it really did impact our outlook on life. I mean, it's normal for us to just think about, in everyday life, helping somebody and volunteering our time, and I think a lot of those outlooks on life came from Mama, from our grandmother.
She was the most unassuming person and yet the most powerful person, which is the most interesting juxtaposition.
I remember in the early years when I started working in the office, and I had the office next to her. For the first 3 hours of the morning at least, she was busy with phone calls, advising people, assisting people, taking care of people.
You would walk into her office, you would see pictures of people on the wall that were complete strangers. Who is that? Oh, that's a girl that I found out about that she kind of needed help, and I helped her, and we stayed in touch. She's got pictures of these people on her wall as if they're family members. They're just kind of people that she picked up along the way who needed her support.
It wasn't like she said, I'm going to do chesed now, this is my chesed hour. It was just her day. Somebody would call her, and she would end up being on the phone for hours just listening. And she said some nights she couldn't sleep because the person hung up, they felt better, they went on with their day. And then she went home with everybody's angst and everybody's problems on her head, and she really took it to heart.
And she actually acted on them. If someone had a problem, she didn't just leave it at that. She found a solution. She looked to help people. She was a problem solver.
At the Shiva, there was a lady who came in who seemed very distraught by her passing. And she spoke to my wife and she said, I was one of her customers. She believed that she was one of the imahos, that she was a person who really cared about somebody, and it was never about her name in lights. It was about doing chesed.
It's hard not to get emotional when thinking of a world without Mama Edith Lowinger. And it's just beyond appropriate that we can try in some small way to continue her legacy, because she was someone who embodied what it means to live for somebody else. And our volunteer network is exactly that.
She had the same mantra and accomplished the same things into her last day, because for my grandmother, chesed was 24/7.
This is what she was. She was a volunteer her whole life.
Achiezer Volunteer Network personified who my mother-in-law was, what her brand of chesed was.
This whole idea of having something in my mother's name would have horrified her. She always told me that you're supposed to be gray, meaning invisible. The people who go out and do all the volunteers things for Achiezer are gray, and they're exactly what my mother aspired to.